Well, hey folks, it's your old pal King Waspinator. Welcome back to Total Party Skills. Hit like and subscribe. So many people have been subscribing lately. I don't know what's going on, but whatever it is, you better get in on it quick and hit that subscribe button now. Still going to talk a little bit about, the revelations of one D&D. I'm a little curious, is this a rebrand of what last year they were calling D&D Evolution, or is that still something separate? I still feel like from the takeaway video I made yesterday of just the three things out of their announcement video that stood out to me the most, I still feel that the one that's the most telling is how it largely leads off with this insistence that they're not taking anything away. And this morning, after I got up, I saw a video from our good old RPG pundit, who apparently has been in communication with some of the people who've seen the beta test for 1D&D. And from what he was saying about what they were saying about it, it sounds in many ways like this is basically they're bolting the Tasha's Cauldron of Everything style of character creation, onto the standard character creation rules. And what kind of surprises me about RPG Pundit's take on it all is how much he kind of soft-pedaled how much that actually is removing something from the rules. I mean, yeah, they're not going to change what the ability scores are or what the basic stats for monsters and stuff are going to be. That's part of probably, how they mean it's going to be backwards compatible. You can, lift a monster stat block from an old book and use it in one of their new products. And if 5th edition is compatible with 1 backwards, and it also means that products for 1D&D should also be forward compatible with the 5th edition books. So there's another reason why you might not actually need to buy any of this stuff. But, character creation and how you go about making your character is very much a part of the rules of the game. These are the basic parameters that all the players are handed to be able to make a character with. And the idea that they're going to, be pulling away from the whole race class thing, and kind of change how class works, and I guess more of a emphasis on like background ethnicity as opposed to just calling it race. Having not seen it, I'm just kind of third-hand information on this kind of a thing. But they are trying to like remix the dynamic there. I wouldn't be surprised if we see an end to alignment. If the easiest way to stop having alignment be problematic is to just remove alignment entirely. But I don't know, from the sounds of it, like, we already basically have 1D&D. If you have Tasha's Cauldron of Everything, and you have Mordenkainen's Multiverse of Monsters, or whatever the hell that one's called, then it basically kind of sounds like you have the materials that you need to be doing what they're doing anyway. So, I mean, yeah, I guess the accusations that this is really more of a revised edition as opposed to a 6th edition, are valid under those terms. But, the basic classic axis of a character's concept being based on their race and class is pretty goddamned core to what D&D has always been. As far as, like, I remember going back to when I was a little kid and first heard of the thing, that's always been one of its central dynamics. And since the bulk of the people who play it are players and not dungeon masters, it matters less in a way on the surface of the game, if they change how you stat out your monsters or how you award experience and treasure and stuff. Changing the fundamental style and themes that you base your player characters upon, though, from my point of view, that significantly alters the entire tone and presentation of the game. Players learn the rules by going through character creation. They learn what the setting is like based on the sorts of options they're presented in character creation. And to just kind of rinse that all away, because on one hand, you could say the cynical, like they got the agenda they want to push. On the other hand, there's things about this that I find reminiscent of the later days of 2nd edition's run, where there's, just all these various kind of option books put in for player character options, more races, more ways to tweak and personalize your character class, and all that kind of stuff until you can barely keep track of all of it. And it's just, in some ways, from the company point of view back then, it was just kind of like whatever, just let these idiots do what they want. Kind of a mentality, kind of feel behind why they were doing that. They were just tired of people nitpicking and arguing about why they can't do this and why they can't do that. And instead of holding firm and being like, no, this is the way the game is, instead they caved. And so, insofar as, like I said, you can make it out that, some of the changes that they're implementing in the text of things that's going to be going forward with 1D&D might be agenda driven. There is also the angle of the kind of just giving up on trying to like have a specifically formatted Dungeons and Dragons. These kids want everything to be eternally fluid and meaningless, and let's just give them a version of D&D where everything is eternally fluid and meaningless. But they're disguising this idea up in a skin of like, oh, we're giving you more options. More options blurs the lines, and from the sound of it, basically this new version of D&D is going to basically be like GURPS in the same way that Savage World is kind of like GURPS. It might not be quite as complicated to make a character as it is with GURPS, but the do whatever you want kind of quality within the parameters of the things they let you choose from, that's instead of having here's some set profiles to choose and layer together to make a 2-axis character based on race and class. Yeah, I mean, like, we already have fantasy games that are like that. GURPS runs perfectly fine if you want to be able to just make whatever you want. Arguably, Savage Worlds probably too. There's plenty of generic rule systems that don't tie you down to too much, like specifics on what kind of characters are created and played, and can be freeballed more. And that's not what D&D was. And so, once again, they're giving us this thing that wears the Dungeons and Dragons' name. But damn it, race and class being the basis of your character, and the idea that your, character's race gives you, like, certain bonuses to some abilities and a couple special powers like night vision and shit, and that your class gives you your skill training, and what kind of weapons and armor. Like, that these have been core aspects of Dungeons and Dragons going all the way back. So, yeah, it's bullshit when they say they're not taking anything away. They're taking away your primary introductory interface with the entire D&D game world by changing character creation in this sort of fashion. And like I said, it's not like there's not a place out there for people who want a more open-ended, generic, malleable kind of rules set up so they can kind of do their own thing, and the player characters have characters that can be, better tailored for, their dungeon mastering needs and all that kind of stuff. But we already have those games. D&D did not need to become one of them. D&D was supposed to be a prestige brand, and apparently they're just desperate to just milk it for whatever money they can. Don't forget, it's owned by Hasbro, the people who had the bright idea to let Michael Bay make 5 Transformer films and to make Battleship into a movie. So, these are people who clearly care about the integrity of their intellectual properties that they have control of. And so I guess I'll just leave it at that. As I said, hit like and subscribe. Hit subscribe again. Tell your friends to hit subscribe. Just do it. Just like open up like 100 accounts and just keep subscribing. It's your lot in life.